One book that I think you can find some very good, interesting trick is the SAT Black Book. So with the SAT Black Book, you have a very different perspective or different way of approaching the SAT, especially when it comes to the reading. If you are not fond of reading the entire passage in the English reading, then this trick or this book is going to be very helpful for you, because with that book they will help you to know how you shouldn't even read the whole SAT reading passage. However, you can be able to tackle the questions on that passage.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens.
Welcome back to my channel. The name is Michael Acheampong. On this chapter, we are going to talk about mainly SAT. So as an international student, most of the questions that pop up into your head is whether you are supposed to write SAT or not. My response to such question is yes and also no. The reason for the yes is one, the SAT is a scholastic assessment test. So even though some schools require or determine the admission on the SAT, some schools do not. Mostly the SAT, which is a scholastic test, is used to measure the amount of scholarship that is going to be awarded to you as a student. So which means that if you're having a higher SAT score, your chances of getting a bigger amount of scholarship or enough funding for yourself is high. However, I'm saying no because some schools actually do not require the SAT to admit you into their institution. So you can have or you can choose not to have an SAT test. However, they are going to admit you. And even some schools go on to award you with academic scholarship even though you don't have the SAT. They determine the scholarship based upon your GPA. So if you're having a good GPA score, you can have a scholarship even without having SAT score. The next question most people also ask is whether they are supposed to rewrite the SAT, they are supposed to retake it when they realize they have a low SAT score. So as I said, some schools do not even require the SAT, so you can choose not to apply the schools using the SAT if you think it's a low SAT score in your perspective. However, you can also choose to retake it if you think you can do well with the next test that you are going to do, because some schools determine the scholarship funding they will give to you on the SAT. So if you are able to do well on the SAT, you can use it to apply to some schools and hopefully you can get good scholarship for yourself to pursue your academic degree or your undergraduate degree. So if you want to know how to search for schools with or without the SAT, you can go to my previous video. I dive into how you can use three search engines to search for schools very effectively without even using Google, because as I said in my video, using Google is going to cost you a lot of time and you don't have that time to go through the schools here in the US. If you choose to write the SAT, I have some few books I will highly recommend to you to use in your studies. So as you all know, the SAT comprises of the English and the math. So with the math, three books that I will highly recommend to you. The first one is the Panda Math, the second one is the Pond Math, and the third one is the Dr. Chong Practical Math. So with these three books, they are very good. I will highly recommend to you because that is what I use and a lot of people have also used, which has been really helpful to them. So if you don't have really good fundamental for the math, I would recommend you start with the Panda maths because it will give you the basic maths principle for the SAT. So you could start with that one. And when you get the overall background on how the SAT maths look like, you can move on to the Pond maths. Then you complete it with the Dr. Chong practice. I believe if you are able to finish these two books, you can be able to go through the Dr. Chong practice, because that book is mainly about you solving a lot of questions on the SAT maths that you've already learned. So with the reading and writing, I recommend Erica Meza reading and writing textbook. Yeah, so Erica Meza has reading textbook and writing textbook, and I highly recommend to you. Her approach on how to go with the reading and writing is very phenomenal. I also recommend Panda writing. Yeah, Panda writing also give you the basic insight on the writing aspect of the SAT. I as well recommend Baron SAT textbook also to you. So with these three books, I believe if we are able to dive into detail, you can be able to do well on your SAT English and math. So the next question most people will ask is there any trick or tip that can really help or that can be really helpful to them when they're about to write the SAT? Okay, so one book that I think you can find some very good, interesting trick is the SAT Black Book. So with the SAT Black Book, you have a very different perspective or different way of approaching the SAT, especially when it comes to the reading. If you are not fond of reading the entire passage in the English reading, then this trick or this book is going to be very helpful for you, because with that book they will help you to know how you shouldn't even read the whole SAT reading passage. However, you can be able to tackle the questions on that passage. So I'll really recommend you to try your hands on that book, which is the SAT Black Book. I also recommend you to study the official SAT practice book. With what I know, they have 12 practice questions, which I know few are from the various previous SAT questions, so you can try your hands on solving some of these questions. And also, if you think you can afford these books and you want them for free, kindly leave a comment and I'll direct you to where you can get some of these books for free. Thank you for watching this video. Please do well to subscribe, share, and also comment on this video. Also like. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that whenever I upload any new video, you'll be the first to know. See you next week. Bye.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got